Why is it so often when we're the most productive, when we're just writing and writing and writing, right in the middle of all this inspiration and intensity, we hit a wall? We know exactly what the book is about. We're going great. And then all of a sudden, block, stuck, wall. That's exactly what we're going to talk about in this video. But first, I want to give a little health reminder. And that is just to remind everybody what we all know, that the brain is a physical organ. So yes, there are reasons in the writing craft that often we can get stuck, but sometimes we just aren't getting enough sleep. We're pushing our limits. We need water, we need nutrients, we need rest. And so more often than not, if you've had a lot of intense creative flow days, give yourself a rest. Intense creative flow is actually more physically draining than an intense workout because the brain uses so much energy. So first and foremost, check your rest before we get into these detailed craft things. But sometimes we need to go deeper and understand the underlying dynamics of the book we're writing. This is true for any genre, for self-help, also in nonfiction. And so these are 4 prompts that I want to get into that just help us really pick the book apart and really make the contrasts and really point out the dynamics at play that are going to move people's lives and move people's emotions. So number 1, the first prompt that can take you deeper and bring out the meaning in your book is, what is the worst case scenario? So in plotting, I'm going to use the Titanic as an example because I love using the Titanic as an example. So worst case scenario. So often at the beginning of a coaching session, we'll talk about conflict, right? Why are books all about conflict? It's because through conflict, we have our values tested. We understand who we are in the depths of ourselves. The challenges really bring out our soul in a certain sense. And this is true if you're writing self-help too. If you're writing self-help, people are really picking up your book because of the challenge that they're up against. And so you can get deeper into your writing when you really imagine the worst case scenario. So in the Titanic, we're looking at love, right? We're looking at love that transcends economies. And what pushes that love to its limits? The sinking ship. So when the ship sinks, I'll have to practice that because I'm obviously going to use the Titanic as an example again. But when the ship sinks, we see who our characters really are in the depth of themselves. And we also see the way that one protagonist sacrifices himself for the other protagonist. Sorry, spoiler alert. But that's the other reason I use Titanic, because hopefully everybody has seen it by now. So on the one hand, when we're writing literary fiction, let's say, sometimes we pull our punches. We want things to be subtle, but don't run away from the worst case scenario. Often it brings out the authenticity of your characters and the real meaning of the book. Number 2, contrasts. So we're going to give 2 points to contrast in this video. First contrast is foils and contrast between characters. If you're writing nonfiction, this is important too, because you want to contrast someone's worst habits with their best habits in whatever struggle they're up against. Same goes for characterization in any kind of plot. We have love triangles, we have foils, we have one person who represents wholesome values, and we have one person who represents evil values. But it's not that simplistic. It's not good guys versus bad guys all the time. Often we have a very intellectual character versus a very emotional character, or whatever are the central dynamics of your book. How can you characterize 2 people within the plot that really contrast and bring out, accentuate those values in the other? So character foils. Ask yourself, what are the central values of the book? How can I have one character exemplify the extreme of one type of value, let's say religious, spiritual values, and the other character really exemplify the scientific, the rational values. Also, the second point of contrast, we're on prompt number 3. How is our protagonist, how is our person different at the beginning of the book compared to the end of the book? Let's go back to Titanic. So, for instance, Rose, our protagonist in the Titanic movie, at the beginning of the book, she's wealthy, she's spoiled, and she's trapped. By the end of the book, we have a huge contrast. She leaves all of that behind to set off on her own and see what she can do for herself. So she leaves all of the wealth behind. This is a great, very simple contrast from our protagonist, who she is and the situation she's in at the beginning, compared to the confidence she develops at the end to really break free and leave. And then the fourth is personal experience. If at any moment you feel stuck and you want to go deeper and get more meaningful with your book, really journal. Ask yourself, what is my personal experience? What does my personal experience have to do with this? When you go deeper into your own personal experience, you're going to tap into our universal experience as humans. If we're writing a love story, oh man, have we all been through the trials and tribulations of love? If you're writing an adventure story, when are times when you were really frightened, you were really scared, and you felt in your own life the stakes were really high? How did you react? How have you seen friends and loved ones react? So the final fourth prompt is, if you feel stuck, if you feel like you're hitting a wall, go into your own personal experience. So I love prompts. Many people know this. So in the link below, I'm going to give outline prompts so you can get a better idea of the underlying structure of your book. And I'll also provide these prompts that help us go deeper into our characters, deeper into our book in general, about what we're writing. So every single Friday, I have a new class and a new resource right below in the link. So subscribe to the channel because I'll love you for it. And I will bring up my side of the bargain by putting out new videos every single Friday. So much love. Ciao for now.